want to cover this thrive and survive in a really valuable way for you guys, and hopefully spend this time to really get our act together for what's going to happen. There's a big changes obviously underway here. And I'm going to deal with 3 laws, and I found that laws are the most important part of everything that we do. And these are immutable laws, and they're the laws of perception, the laws of perturbation, and the laws of procession. Now, you might not fully understand that. We're going to go through it in some detail. And my intention is that we deliver a real great outcome here for you guys. And this next 90 days, this next 180 days that we get to turn our ship around, because our government has done some pretty amazing things to help us in this very difficult time. So let's get into this, and let's get into some real value into what we're going to do and how it's going to show up for you. So what's happening? Well, I think you have to be in another planet not to know that we've got some pretty serious stuff going on. 5% of our population normally are unemployed. That will probably go to 10% and more in New Zealand as well. And I was talking to our team in Los Angeles just yesterday, and there's 24 million, the whole of our population are unemployed, and I believe that'll probably go to 400, about 40 million. They're a big population, and some very serious things are going on. Hundreds of thousands of people have died, and I believe that unfortunately that will probably continue, and we may even get to millions of people dying. So this is not a pleasant situation. This is not something to celebrate in any way, obviously, but there's a big shock, and only through shock comes change. So what do we know about this, and what can we do? Well, I know one thing, absolutely. If you don't do something, you're going to lose out on this big time. And there are really 3 groups of people. One group is so petrified, they're fighting over toilet paper, and they're isolated, and, you know, that's their perception, which is the first law. And the second people have different perception. They are just having fun and jumping around doing crazy things, celebrating whatever. And some people, as we just had a terrible situation, a guy, a mortgage broker from Melbourne, taking drugs, celebrating whatever, or trying to, and depression, trying to do things. And the alleged perpetrator here has killed 4 police officers. So there are groups of people who are going into some pretty terrible, dark places, and there's people who are in another group, and I hope this is the group that you want to be in, and that's the group of action, precise action. All wealth ultimately is precise action. So I want to come back to perception. Perception is, where does it come from? It comes from your money story. You came to this planet, and mum and dad have a money story, and they got their money story from their mum and dad, and now you've got a money story from not only them, but and the DNA of them and the blueprint from them, but you also have got the situation where you've been affected by other people who have given their money story. You've either enrolled yourself into their money story or you haven't. And of course, a lot of this is dependent upon who you hang out with. And, you know, if you're hanging out with people who are going somewhere, that's interesting. If you're hanging out with people who are more worried about this than you're going to have a perception on that as well. So this is a really difficult thing. In AA, they call it stinking thinking. It's about hanging around negative people. It's about people who aren't going anywhere and in a hurry to take you with them. And it's very difficult when you have a perception of fear and all that anxiousness is going on, which really leads to the second law of perturbation. It might be an unusual word. I heard this word when I was about 30. Perturbation is anxiousness caused by outside influences. That's what perturbation is. It's anxiousness, it's fear, it's stuff that's going, and this is what we've got going on right now. Now, perturbation, though, has 2 ways of going, 2 paths. And in this delivery that I want to talk about which path you take, is going to be around you take the dark side or the light side. It's like the meaning that you put on something. It's like when you lose your job, some people go, oh, the world's come to an end, everything's over. To other people say celebration, I hated that job anyway, I want to move forward. But if you don't have strategies in there and you're going to lose your job, which a lot of people have, or you're unsure about your job, then you're either going to go the dark side or the light side. You're either going to get into that meaning that you put on something, and that quality of that meaning, the only thing that grows in your life is what you focus on and what you give energy to. And again, intellectually you could know that, but doing it's another thing. If you're focusing on what you don't want, you can get lots of that. And it's interesting about the meaning. We had the global financial crisis, and a lot of people forgot that we even had it. It was back in 2007, 2008. We had a drought for some years, and some people have forgotten about that. And it wasn't that long ago we had bushfires, and it was all the rage. And now we've forgotten about that because we're currently focusing on the coronavirus. This too shall pass. And so I see it, this is just my interpretation, I see it's like the river comes down, takes the village out, it brings topsoil. A number of people died. New people came back to the village, rebuilt the village, and planted new crops. And I can assure you one thing, there'll be another thing that comes to this village or to your life within the next 7 years or less. So what I'm asking you to think about in this, really, if you want to be happy, if you really want to get an answer to this, it's going to be a lot to do with your perception and understand perturbation. And it's no good thinking about, well, we'll get back to normal. There is no normal. This normal is a digital world normal. It's really interesting. We've got a very impressive government. I think the government's done such a great job, and in New Zealand as well. And they've poured money into our position here to help us, survive, really, and not necessarily thrive, but to help us. And obviously they've done this because, just imagine if they didn't put the money in, they didn't pay the keepers for the jobs, they didn't do that, or they didn't have the dollar for $1,500 and increase all that. Do you imagine how long would it be there would be riots in the streets? How long before people would be stealing, breaking glass and pulling things out? Food, even people, Christians, who they need to feed their children. They will do whatever they need to do. Unfortunately, humans will do that. So it's very smart what the government's done, and they've acted very quickly, and they've acted so quickly, they've given you time. Now, you bought time, so what are you going to do with that time? You get 90 days, you get 180 days to turn your ship around. And that's what I want to talk to you about. What are you going to do with this time? How are you going to use it? How are you going to do it wisely? Are you going to sit there and mope or are you going to thrive in this? You're going to just survive. So my whole purpose of this is really about what is the steps you need to take. Now, we have a whole process here, a proven success story for this. And I'm going to be right in front of your face here about what needs to happen. And number one is you're going to need new skills. You need to raise your standards. You're going to need new strategies, and you're going to need a new mindset. You're going to need to reset your mindset. Now, that's big words and interesting and all that. But some of you are still going to be held hostage to this. Some of you are still caught in the middle of the road like a deer with the lights, caught there, and you're going to get run over it. So what this is about is precise action. I'm going to talk about precision in a minute, but precise action is what really does wealth, what creates wealth. 95% of our population are stuck, and that's why 95% end up as pensioners. That's the current status. New Zealand, Australia, America, most Western countries, 95%. And I must apologise. Well, we've got these great governments. Apologise to you because you were never taught how to do this. You were never shown how to build wealth. You went to school, you learned to read and write better than me. I came out of school and couldn't read or write. I had dyslexia and some great deal of difficulties I had. And when you can't read or write, it's very hard, very, very hard. I had to teach myself to read and write. I'm still a very, very scribbly, slow reader. And I cheat. I use all sorts of things. I use Audible and other things to get books. Now I do a book a week and have been doing for the last 20 years. So everything that I've built in this business to grow 69, 70 companies, to grow a $60 million turnover business, everything I've done it very simply. to work with people like me. So it won't be that you don't have the education or you can't do it. It's just a decision. And we're going to talk a bit about how we get stuck and how, some people have about the last 5 years. And if you are and don't change a thing, the next 5 years must be identical. So I want you to think about the last 5 years, because it's not the coronavirus has caused the problem. A lot of you were already stuck. Some of you have poor credit, some of you are in a debt cycle, some of you are in difficult things. There's others on this call that have really got their head above water, but now they're looking at their mortgages, and they're looking at their situation, they're looking at their job. When 10,000 people lose a job in Virgin, and that's a big hunk of people, and that's just one group. So it's going to be very interesting as to what you do about this, because my whole strategy for 50 years is about jobs are not secure, even government ones. You're going to need to come across our wall of fear. You're going to need to get into becoming an investor. You're going to need to create vehicles of income, and you've got to get good at one of these, either property, business, or shares, coaching, digital, whatever you do, you've got to be good at that. So that's what this teaching is about. Now, some of you have got fears, and you've got a whole lot of in your money story. Oh, you've got to have a lot of money. No, $1. This is the deal. $1 to $1 million in 7 years or less. You'll notice it doesn't say 100,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 or $1 million or anything. It says $1. Now, I know you'll have a bit of a fight here, and I just want to know who's listening, because there's two people who listen to me. Everyone has two people. I have two people. We have our ego and we have our good spirit. Our ego is always thinking about what's the catch, or this won't work, or because your money story has a lot of that in it, that there's not enough, and you don't understand, or you need to have 100,000, 200,000 to buy a property, you need to pay the stamp duty, you need this. What if I said there was a different mindset where you used $1 and that you didn't pay stamp duty, and like we have a client who did in 3 years after being with us in the last 15 months, did $1 million. Did 300,000 the first 8 months of him putting this in place using no money of his own, and then did 7 more transactions after that, and made another 700,000. $1 million. What would that mean to you if you could do that? What would that mean to your stuck mind? But the one who'd listen to that would be one who sees ultimate possibilities, endless possibilities, not the fearful mind, but a mind that would see possibilities. A mind of love, if you like. Not a mind of darkness, but a mind of light. When you put the light on, there's no darkness. When you put the light on, when you bring love, there's no fear. It's just the way it is. Fear is an illusion, and although it's present for people, and we all are there, it's part of our safety. However, it doesn't help us with our opportunities, and that's a thing of perception. It's a thing about perturbation too. So imagine a new world. Imagine a world that we have a 12-step plan. And I've been doing this for many, many years. It's a wealth account, strategic spending, 7-year plan goals program, and reading books, and basically being in a team to work together. Now, imagine that world. It's a different world. And after doing it for all the years I've had, of the 12 things, if I said there was one thing, I've met many people who've been successful. I've met a pile of people who haven't, and I asked them, how'd you go with your wealth account? Oh, I started it, but I didn't continue. How'd you go with your strategic spending? Oh, yeah, I meant to do that. How'd you go with your goals card? I did it for a week. I've never met a person who's done the 12 steps that hasn't, and for 7 years hasn't been successful. Never met one of those. So obviously there's a step-by-step process here, a proven one that works. But if I could tell you the one thing that actually makes it work or not makes it work, it's a team. Most people fail because they try and do it alone. They don't trust people, they don't trust themselves. And it's a real issue about raising your standards, a real issue about mindset. It's a big, big deal. Imagine playing football and you're the team against another team, just you. What chance would you have of winning that game by yourself, or even just playing by yourself? It's just completely useless. You need a team. And the team has different skills. There's the people who do defense, there's the people who attack, there's people who pass the ball. It's a process, and just a little football game. or any kind of game that has a team. That you taught that at school, but when you go out in the big world, for some unknown reason, you seem to forget, except when you work with a team in a job. And when we go out and do real estate flips, or we do start a business, or when we do share trade, or do anything we want to do, coaching or whatever, or digital business, you're going to need a team. So there seems to be a challenge there, and we have some solutions around that. For instance, we have a lot of people in our team. We have 50,000 clients, so we have a lot of people. And there are people within 5, 10K of where you live looking exactly for what you're looking for, and they have different skills to you. More on that later, but the other part of the team you need is a coach. And that determines the real success of the team. So I do coaching, I do mentoring, and I hold people to account. Now, I make sure that they're teachable, coachable, and will listen. And if you're still watching this, then this may be you, I don't know. Because there's some changes, and people will not change often. They will hold themselves where they've been and doing the same thing again and again and again, expecting a very different result. The second thing that I need people to really do here is to have the vehicle that they choose to operate with. Now, that vehicle is nothing to do with the job. The vehicle is going to be property, it's got to be flipping, buy and hold, it's got to be commercial, it's got to be something. And there's learning to do in doing this. We teach people to do it within 5, 10K of where they live. We deal with very no money, but have money partners with them. We use options. We do various transactions here. In fact, one of my programs that I have, I showed the 47 steps on how to do that process. And I have a recording of it, and it takes almost 2 hours to watch just that whole part. We have someone play the part of a purchaser, a vendor, how to do the transactions. In this particular one, I show how we make $300,000. Now, that's not your first transaction. First transaction we should be doing is about $25,000 to $50,000. I don't have a lot of time today to go through these things, but they're in our program, and if you want to see them, you can, and know that money will never be a reason for not succeeding. You can use it as an excuse if you wish, but it won't be the reason for your failure. You'll be the reason. And I say that directly to you, and I don't mean to be harsh or judgmental. What I know, absolutely, is that we are the block. I am the block for my health. I am the block for my money. I am the block for my relationships. We all are. And that's something that really needs to get on with. And part of the coaching is to do that. So it's not easy. It's just simple. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme or overnight thing. This is a step-by-step process. And a couple of things you're going to have to do is give up your helplessness. Gee, you get really nasty now. Give up your not knowing anything. Give up a lot of things that are in the way. I don't have time. I'm not educated enough. I haven't got enough money. I'm too old. I'm too young. You've got to give this up. It's called learned helplessness. You have to give this up. You're going to have to use the laws, all the natural laws that make this work. You're going to have to really get clear and get into the procession, I call that. So after the perception, you've got to get that perception out of there and look at the possibilities. Anthony Robbins talks about, not pretending there are no weeds in the garden. Look at the flowers, pull the weeds out, but don't look at the weeds. Spending all your life looking at what's wrong will bring more of that. That's the law. And the perturbation to understand that this too will change too, will pass. And really with that, a 3-year plan will be the process of procession. In life, many things are going to happen. I had a lady come to me and she said, Roy, you can see I have some money problems. I'm a pensioner, I have some money problems. And I looked at her blue form, we call it, which is something that I teach. And I said to her, you don't have any money problems. You don't have any money. You've got to have money to have money problems. You might have some scarcity problems, but you certainly don't have any money problems. I could show you some people who've got some money problems. They've got money. You don't have any of that. And I told her never to talk about being a pensioner again, and never put that out as her image of who she is. Never have that as her perception, because that's her money story. So she got rid of that and she got a different identity, and she did her first transaction. She made $147,000. She'll never become a pensioner ever again. She never talked about that. So only through shock comes change, we've said. And What we're going to do is in this 90 days, this 180 days, that the government has given you money. If you, in our system in Australia and in New Zealand, and even in America, they're giving certain advantages. If you really focus, you can really make a change here. So my question to you is, what are you going to do with that 90 days? What are you going to do with your life in this next 180 days? Going to watch a lot of Netflix, or are you going to do something? So if you really want to get going, you have to give up stuff that's in the way. Now, part of you might think, well, tell me the plan. Well, we have a 3-year plan, and the very conservative one creates a $50,000 income the first year, new money, $100,000 the second year, and then 150,000 the third year. 50, 100, 150. New money, people go, wow, that's amazing. And then we have a fast track because we've got people who are in a hurry. They're 100, 200, 300. Is it guaranteed? No. I can't even guarantee you'll wake up tomorrow alive, or you won't get the virus or whatever. But what I can guarantee, if you don't do stuff, if you don't get into action, you will be a pensioner. And I would stop this quick as you can now. Stop watching, because it's not for you. And I would just go on the dole and just join the 95% group, because obviously that's what it is now. I'm saying that to give you a shock, and you might think, gee, you're harsh, Roy. Only through shock comes change. We've got to get into stuff, guys. This is going to happen. That 90 days, 180 days is going to happen anyway, whether you do something or you don't. We must be the change that we wish to see in the world. Gandhi said that. We must be that change. We can't be saying, when's the government going to do it? In one sense, we've been spoiled. We've been given money, because if we don't get some money, we'll riot. And we're trying to put us to sleep so we don't have to worry about anything. And if we stay separate and isolated, we'll get through it. No one will starve. But it's just a quality of life that you live. And I'm really interested in dealing with that. I'm interested also in dealing with not only $1 to $1 million, your 3-year plan. I'm interested in your tax situation. I'm interested in your credit. Some of you have bad credit. You think, oh, and all this is a mirror for you to have a look at and what's going on in your life. So these things are very serious things. They need to be dealt with. They're not easy in their solutions. They take time, and they have to be dealt with one by one. So if you're up to the game, if you're serious, so am I. And as you sit and watch this or stand or whatever you're doing, you might say, well, I wonder if this will work. Well, let me tell you, the gym works. It always works. You just got to turn up to the gym. You know how 80% of people who pay for a gym don't show up and finish the whole thing. 20% don't even show up after two sessions. The 20% who actually continue become fit and well. The gym works. This works. It's whether, number 2, will it work for me? Well, everyone, just walking to the gym and not even picking up a weight would help. It works for everybody, just the level in which you want to play, that's all. The more important question is, will I work it? That's the question. Will I work it? Now, some of us need motivation, yes. Some of us need shock. Some of us need, I don't know what you need, but I don't think we can have much more shock than what we've had here. What I really think, more importantly, is responsibility. Success is not a goal. It's a responsibility. You put on this planet to make a difference here. You put on this planet to have an experience. You put on this planet to be an example for your children. You put on this planet to actually add some value and leave the planet in a better place than where it was. I'm not here to preach to you, but you know this. So there's 2 people listening. I want to talk to the person in your heart of hearts, that spiritual being living in this physical body, having human experiences that are intelligent. I want to speak to that one. I want to speak to the one, the identity that wants you to do well, not to the ego, to the dark side, to the one that doesn't want you to do well. That person, that part of you will not succeed. There's part of you that's hearing me, and there's part of you that's hearing the truth. And I speak to my existing clients who have gone off the rails, lost whatever, didn't get their team. That's very common. And I'd like you to start again freshly. There's a new world, a new beginning, and every day is a new beginning. We've reinvented our company. Our company's growing. It's a new world for us too. Luckily, we did record our program, just by luck, I guess, in January, our Life Magic program. We recorded the whole thing in Meta Digital. So now we have a complete program of our signature program. We spend a day on property, a day in business, a day in shares and strategies and tax. And then on the last day, a plan you write yourself on what you want your future to look like. And there's a whole pile of things within that. And so it's called the Pre-Life Magic digital program. So it's available right now to have a look at and do that. And you can stop it and play it and stop it and start it. And the whole thing is about building teams and doing that. 80% of what I teach in that program and in life generally about this money is financial intelligence. 80% of that. Now, it's important because most of you have not been taught this stuff. 20% is emotional fitness, however, the ability to be able to take a loss, the ability to lose a team member, the ability to still focus on what you want, the ability to recover from the GFC or the drought or bushfires or the virus or getting fired or whatever. That ability to step up, show up, give back, that's emotional fitness. And that's a really, really important. That's a reset of the mindset. It's about changing your money story, and it's certainly about your perception. And there's some steps to make here. The 5 things that I said I would cover. Number 1 is that you need to make a decision. You need to make a decision, have abundance in all areas of your life. And some of you haven't made that decision, and whilst you don't make that decision, none of this is going to be very practical, just be procrastination and not doing things. So I'm just wondering, are you ready to make that decision? What more shock do you need? When will you decide to have abundance in your life? How long are you going to keep putting your life off before you truly live it? What needs to happen? Now, whether you're in a relationship or not, whether you're male, female, whether you've got children, don't have children, whether you're married, single, just broken up, 87% of all marriages break up over money. So if you're ready to make a decision, we call you a green person, green light, ready to go. If you're still in that wondering place, you may be orange, you've got some questions, you're unsure, a lot of people there, it's good. And then we've got people we call them red lights, they're not doing anything, they're just going to stand there and they're going to wait for someone to save them. The government's going to save them, someone's going to have to do this. They're waiting for someone else to do it. I'm going to suggest that no one will care for you as much as you should, and no one will take care of your money more than you, even your super fund. And I show people how to access that, how to build it, use it, property flips and stuff. So number 1, make a decision. Number 2, and this is very, very important. Number 2, you've got to take responsibility, personal responsibility. You've got to give up your stories about blame and justification. You've got to give up all of the stuff that says it was my partner who took all my money, it was the government, it was the employer, it was this, it was that. And windscreen wipers go. Sometimes you're good at that, sometimes not. But once you give up your story, you stop talking a lot and you start telling the truth. It's interesting, truth and happiness. It's very, very good. If I can remember what Buddha said, he says there are 2 mistakes one can make along the road to truth. One is not going all the way, and the other one's not getting started. And I think he was a very wise man. Not going all the way, that's commitment, and not even getting started. So making a decision, taking responsibility is getting started. That's what's next. The third thing is that you've got to learn to become a true investor. You've got to learn that your job is going to fail, that they won't want you, you won't want them, you'll be too old, it's going to stop. And the minute you get to that decision, life changes, because you then start a process with your 11, 21, 31, 61, or I'm 74, you can make that decision at any age, but you need to make it. And then the 4th thing you need to do, if you've made the decision, taken a responsibility, learn to become a true investor, is apply what you know. So many people know stuff but don't apply it. You might even be here on this conversation. I know this, but knowing and doing could be miles away. You need to get in action. And you need probably someone to hold your hand a bit. That's what coaching, that's what mentoring is about. We spend time on our mentoring calls here, and we actually tell people more times than not to buy this transaction or not to do this transaction. We spend 2 hours every second week on this particular area. It's called quantum mentoring. But those people who are going to join me, and Karen's going to cringe a little bit here because she's in the room with me, but I'm going to have 3 groups of people with different levels of people. People who are just starting up, I'm going to have a mentoring call with them once a week for the next 6 weeks. Those people who have done that and got through that, we're going to take them to level 2. This is people with a bit more knowledge, a bit more information, and starting to get organized.
and they're going to be at a different level. So it depends on their experience, what they've done. And then there's a third level, which are highly skilled people, and they're really into transactions now, got their team together and so forth. So there's 3 different levels that you're going to come in to our programs from now. We're doing this as a specific intention. I'm going to be working with people just like you, have this happen. So more about that, perhaps, as we get into this and see where you fit in this. And it's going to be very, very important that you're coachable, teachable, and you truly will listen. We're going to cover 4 things. Number 1, I'm going to show you how to create more income streams, not from a job, but new income from property. And about 60-70% of you will do property, and about 20-30% will be doing business first up, and there'll be a small proportion of you doing shares and things. So everyone does things a little differently, and we have hares and owls and tortoises and squirrels. We have sharks and whales and dolphins and urchins. We have different people with different skills, just like in football game, different people do different things. So the great news about this is you don't have to do it all yourself. That's one thing you could give up. This lone wolf, I have to do everything. And the great thing about that is that you will get to share this. And that's a wonderful experience. And it gets you in doing what you need to do, sitting in the right seat on the right bus, doing the right things. So number 1 is income, and we're going to get 5 of them. 2 in the first year and add a new income stream. We're going to do it by law, step by step. No, it's not in a hurry, just step by step. The second thing we're going to deal with is your expenses and debts, including your credit, taxes, and other things. This is very important, not to teach you to become an accountant, although we have an accounting firm and you'll have a free meeting with our accountants. We've had them for 30 years, the same accountants. We've got them in Melbourne and Sydney and on the Gold Coast here. And we've got accountants in New Zealand, we handle Western Australia and Perth and all the rest. What it's really about is getting your house in order. So number 1, income. Number 2, expenses, debt. Number 3, this is a bit mindset-ish. Bit might not understand, and I'm trying with it today, but it's about creating an asset that creates income. Very briefly, you get massive leverage of your life, your money and time out of a piece of real estate. Massive, massive leverage. If you can buy that property under the market, add some value and flip it, which is part of our wealth formula, then you're going to get big leverage. And $25,000, $50,000 is very simple to do, not easy, simple. You're going to think, well, how long does it take me to save up $25,000, $50,000? One of our guys in his first 3 transactions made $28,000 the first time using no money of his own. His second transaction was about $86,000, and his third transaction was $189,000 or something in that order, like 28, 86, 100. Almost $190,000. You know, on your current savings program, how long would it take you to do that? He did that in 7 months, and then did 7 more transactions to make it into $1 million. So he worked at this. He focused at it. Now that's what he does full time. We even work with him now. He's one of our joint venture partners that we work with. So what am I saying? I'm saying there's some very important steps here: income, expenses, debt, getting assets to create income. And lastly, 4th, build your financial fortress. Now, financial fortress, I ask people, you know, what do you want? They go, oh, I want $100 million. I want, you know, the truth is when they fill in their forms and they say where they are, they really just want a house. They want a car. They want to own the house. They want to be able to travel and give some money to their children. They just want to have less stress. And it's not a lot of money. And yet, 95% don't have that. And I want you to look at your parents and where they are, because you've got the money story from them. You know, how did they live their life? And I'm sure they loved you and cared for you and did the best they could. But when I have 100 people in the audience, I say, hands up all those who've got mums and dads who are multimillionaires and financially independent. I get 3 hands up if I'm lucky. For the majority, like my mum and dad, they both died as pensioners. They worked really, really hard. But it was a flawed system because when they stopped working, they didn't have any money. Very simple. And there's people who don't even own a property. And those who do own a property got a mortgage. So we've got some big issues here to turn this ship around. And yet if we've got 7 years, we could do this. And some of you will go on my fast track and do it in 5, and some will even do it in 3. So whatever it is for you, that's the speed in which you need to do it. So I just also want to talk to the rock stars here. I call them rock stars because they make it, lose it, make it, lose it, make it, lose it. They're very good at making money, but not good at keeping it. It's actually very simple to make money. Keeping it's not the plan. So our plan is make it, consolidate, make it, consolidate, make it, consolidate, make it, consolidate. I've been there myself. I've done it many times, and it's not just like the mirror of life has to show you that what you need to do. What I'm absolutely certain about is that you can create money from anywhere, really. It's just a question of having the team with you and having a focus, but it won't be like it's been done in the past. There's going to be some very, very different plans here. Very, very different. No guarantees. Always understand that. This is not a get rich quick. This is a get wealthy. What I will guarantee, however, I'll guarantee one thing: if you don't do stuff, you're going to be a pensioner, as I said. So what I want to talk about is a decision called a red line decision or a green line decision. A good friend of mine, Simon, told me a story about a guy in Los Angeles who was working with some young people who are on the street, drugs, guns and stuff, a little 14-year-old boy, with a gun and selling drugs and stuff. And he said, you keep this up, you're going to die. And he said, yeah. And he said, I don't know what age you'll be that you die, but you'll die. And he said, yeah, I'm going to die anyway. This young kid is very arrogant about that. And he said, well, the drugs, the different things, whatever happens, you'll do it. That's your red line. He said, you could take a green line decision and be not just financially successful, but have a life. And you could get off the streets and you could get a job and you may get a girl and, get a family, have some children, become successful, do some property things, You could do that. It's called a green line decision. He's looking at this and he said, I think the most magical thing, he said, right now, that's a pretty easy decision. As time goes on, this becomes a lot bigger here, harder to turn around. And this is life, this is life. So I call this the orange one, where you just kind of keep on going through life. It sort of looks a bit like this. And what I'm really wanting, and I'm putting this out to all of the people on this call, including a lot of my existing clients or clients from way back 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago, there's an invitation for you to join us, and let's do this really well this time. Quite a few of them did quite well, put some of the things in practice. Some did a lot, and some kind of got lost, and even their manuals they didn't do, and whatever. Just all forgiven, let's start again, if you like. And that's the invitation. There's invitation for a lot of you. There's more than 300 people here on this call, as I understand it. The position is that there's people who don't know us at all. And I'm going to ask that you make a green line decision, a green light decision. That's like, go, let's do it. Maybe there's some orange people here who need to get some questions, and we have our support team to help you with that. And there's some people who, these are red lights, these are people not going to do anything, and so be it. And it's not here for me to save the world, or my job is to end poverty for myself and then help others end poverty. And if I could end poverty on the planet, it would be fantastic, because there's no reason. There's an abundance, and we're in one of the luckiest countries in the world. The thing I want to leave you with is, what's it costing you right now? What's it cost you to keep on keeping on? What's it cost you to do what you even did a year ago or 2 years ago, where I call it the fly, where you go to work and you see me do it, I'm sure, where a fly is trying to break through a plate glass window. It's going bzz, bump, bzz, bump, and it's got no chance of going through a plate glass window. There's always a door and a window open, but I know bzz, bump, bzz, bump. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing again and again, expecting a different result. Whether it's on Monday, or it's 90 days from now, or it's 180 days, and you're back to work again, you're trying to get wealthy, bzz, bump. Bzz, next day, bump. Get 2 jobs, bzz, bump, bump. Definition of insanity, doing the same thing again and again. This will never work. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a job, but if you've got a job and you've been doing that for 20 years, you've got the t-shirt on a job. In fact, within 10 years, you should be building your other income streams. I had a job. I did one job, and I started building income streams. I started doing real estate, I started doing business, I started doing other things. Now I have 69. In fact, I've got 72 businesses now. So I'm the guy who can't spell, read, and stuff like that. So if we can do this, I can do it. Anyone can. When's a good time to get? When now would be a good time to get started with this? I want you to hear that. When now would be a good time? And how long are you willing to put off your life before you truly live it? Because some of you have the perception this is all coming to an end. I'm saying this is an opportunity. This is a great chance to really get well with this. I'm 74. In 3 years, I'm going to be 77. This next 3 years are important to me. I'm taking on apprentices to work with and do this. So if you want this, this is the company, we're the place. We've been doing this a long time. We know how to do it. We have a proven outcome for this step-by-step process. I know you don't know, I know it's fearful, and you'll be out of your comfort zone, because the most important thing with shock comes change is that you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to get into action. So what's your next step? Your next step on our screen here is some programs we have. And we've recorded this whole Life Magic, and we've got 2 of them. You know, a payment plan price and a cash price. And then some people like to come and see me and have a one-on-one for another $1,000. I do that. You don't need to do that. Just do this program. It'll actually work. But some people don't like programs, and they've got some very difficult tax issues to fix, or they're into businesses and bankruptcy and all sorts of stuff. So there'll be people where that may apply. This is a very small cost. You know, you get a time management system, you get our abundance pack, you get our time management system. You know, you haven't got time to do the time management system. When you get time, you can do it. Abundance is fantastic, all with DVDs. You get the whole of the Life Magic program, and it's all digitized for you. And you get 6 focused coaching sessions over 6 weeks. Great time to put that in place, 1 hour a day. 3 personal coaching sessions with our coaches, and we're looking for coaches. And this afternoon, I'm even interviewing people. Our company's expanding for our empowerment team and our coaches. So some of the coaches are on this watching. And then we've got the actual Life Magic pre-stage pack that I just showed you. And then we also give you a one-on-one meeting with our accountants. We do that very carefully so you don't waste the time. So that package, very, very valuable package, that's worth about $5,000 or $6,000. And we're doing it as a special with this conversation because I thought we'd make a difference here. And we do it for $887, $187 down, and $100 a fortnight. And if you've got a credit card, you're capable, you save money, $587. Now, if that's a problem, and it can be, then this is very desperate. This is important to notice. And how long has this been going on for you? How long have you been in this situation? And what's going to change? We have a scholarship fund. Last year we gave away over $400,000. So single mums, unemployed people, all sorts of things. However, we're not like a charity. We're not here, you know, bring your dead, bring your sick, bring your wounded. It's really about participation in your own rescue. It's about action. And we want you to really look about what's going on and what is this sabotage that's been happening in your life to get yourself to this position. Even though you'll have a story, as I've said, we want to give that story up. So there it is. So your next step is to get going. Your next step is to become a green light. Okay, except if you've got orange, you know, you might need some questions, and you know, go on to, you'll see there's onelife.com.au/products, and you get a news sheet which will show you how to get online and how to order this package. And Karen, yeah, there it is. So they put it up on the screen. They also put up the Swift account for the New Zealanders, and they put up our account too. And then there's the support. If you're orange and you have some questions, then type in support and they're there. Our team is waiting to even talk to you. We have your number. We'll give you a call. But for those green ones, let's get going. And let's start this journey. Let's join our team. And let's turn this ship around. 90 days, 180 days. That's a lot of time as far as I'm concerned. A lot of time. Massive time. You don't need 18 years of psychotherapy. You just need to take some action, and you need someone to hold you to account with that action, step by step. The end result, you're going to have a plan that's going to work, and my hope is that you take your family along. There are people on this that are in relationships but not in relationships. One party does, one party doesn't. I just think this way. If your partner doesn't want to do this, would you do it anyway? And if you can make that decision, you may find your partner will come on board. You may find they won't, but don't use your partner as the excuse about why you're not doing anything. These are very serious times. This is very, very important. It's very important that you get into action, very important that you make a difference on this planet, but very important that you leave the planet better than how it was. I said I'd give you the wealth formula, and I'll do this now because most of us have never been told that. And the wealth formula is wealth equals. It's an equal sign. What wealth is value times leverage plus conscious control. Now, some of you are already mixed up on that, and I'll do it again a couple of times so you get it. Got to hear things 7 times. Wealth is value times leverage plus conscious control. What does value mean? You add value. You got a job, you get a bit of resume, you study, you get some value, and you may be valued more and paid more. In a property transaction, we do it up, and we also buy it under the market. So we've got 2 double value things there. Leverage, however, if you've got a job and you're swapping your life for money on an hourly basis, there is no leverage there. There's no leverage at all. My book has got 50,000 copies. There's a great deal of leverage with that. It was printed once and then printed 50,000 times. It's in schools and libraries, and I'm very grateful for that. So how are you leveraging your life? And people don't even understand because they don't even talk what leverage is. Leverage is using $1 and raising $1 million. Leverage is about using the laws, like the perception, perturbation, and procession. You know, so that's what leverage really is. And conscious control means don't give your money to someone in Nigeria. Don't give your money to, with all due respect to some of the banks and some of the financial institutions. AMP have dropped their shares down to $1 something from $5. They've lost 70–80% of their value as a company, and they've lost hundreds of millions of dollars of clients' money, billions of dollars. So, you know, people trust that, and they're trusting the wrong group. They're following the followers. I want you to follow leaders. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. So it's really about getting focused here. So I want to ask you the question: how are you adding value? Are you leveraging your life? Now you're consciously in control of your super, your money. No one will ever care for your money as much as you. So here it is. Make a green line decision, a green light, if you like, a go sign. Go orange if you want some questions. If you go red, I understand, and I wish you well. And some people are just curious; they've got nothing to do. But if you're still on this call, you're more than curious. You want to do it. I can tell you, there's only one thing that's in the way, and that is fear. Fear is what stops us. Whether it's fear of success, or fear of failure, or fear of whatever it is. The reason you people don't do things is not the reason they don't take action. The reason that they don't do things is the reason that they should. If you say, well, I'd like to do this, Roy, but I don't have any money, that's the reason you need to do it. I'd like to do this, Roy, and join the team, but I'm not very good at team playing. That's the reason you need to join. I'd like to do this, Roy, but I don't have any money. That's the reason. I'd like to do this, but I haven't even got a credit card. That's the reason. I'd like to do it, but I'm not very good with computers. That's the reason. Doesn't matter what reason you give me, that is the reason, because you're stuck. Like 95%. So my hope is that we get to meet with you, get to work with you, and you can do this. All you need is someone to hold you to account. Namaste to you. Thanks so much. Look forward to working with you, and thank you for spending the time with me. And our team will contact you. Go for it.